It's a Tuesday morning in suburban Ohio. The alarm clock goes off at 6:30 a.m., but Jim doesn't need to wake up anymore. After 42 years working as a machinist, he retired last year. No boss, no commute, no deadlines. This was supposed to be freedom. Instead, Jim sits at his kitchen table staring at a spreadsheet. Coffee getting cold. Because the math isn't working, gas prices are higher, groceries cost more, property taxes jumped again, and the $1 million he spent his entire life chasing, it suddenly doesn't feel like enough. For decades, Americans were told one simple rule: save $1 million and you'll be fine. Financial magazines repeated it. Employers echoed it. Wall Street marketed around it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That number was designed for a different America. An America where houses cost 3 times income, not 8. Healthcare inflation wasn't outrunning wages, and retirees didn't routinely live into their late 80s or 90s. Today, the retirement landscape has changed. According to data from the Social Security Administration, millions of Americans rely heavily on Social Security benefits as their primary income source. But Social Security was never designed to replace your paycheck. It was meant to supplement it. Meanwhile, inflation quietly eats purchasing power like termites inside a wooden house. Healthcare expenses arrive like surprise storms. And markets? They don't care that you just retired. So the question isn't, how much money should I save? The real question is, how much income will I actually need year after year? And that's where a new framework has quietly emerged among financial planners. Not flashy, not viral, but incredibly powerful. The 80-70-60 rule of retirement. Think of it as the modern American retirement blueprint, not based on guessing a giant number, but based on how real people actually live after they stop working. 3 phases, 3 spending levels, 1 goal: not luxury, not excess, but dignity. Because retirement isn't about yachts and golf courses. It's about independence. The freedom to say yes to dinner with your grandchildren. The freedom to fix your roof without panic. The freedom to age without fear. So today, we're breaking down why the $1 million myth is fading, how the math of survival actually works, the tax traps hiding inside retirement accounts, and the quiet investing strategy ordinary Americans use to make the numbers work. This is the story of the 80-70-60 rule. For decades, Americans believed $1 million was the finish line for a comfortable retirement. But inflation has quietly changed the rules. Groceries, housing, and everyday expenses now cost far more than they did just a decade ago, shrinking the real value of savings. Healthcare costs continue to rise faster than wages, and a single medical crisis can erase years of planning. At the same time, people are living longer, often spending 25 to 30 years without a steady paycheck. Retirement is no longer about chasing a dream number. It's about building a flexible strategy that protects dignity, independence, and long-term security. Let's start with a simple question. If you earn $80,000 a year right now, how much income do you actually need after retirement? Most people instinctively answer, less. No commuting, no payroll taxes, no saving for retirement anymore. Kids moved out, mortgage may be paid off, so expenses drop. Right? Yes, but not as much as people think. Financial planners often reference something called the 80% replacement rule. You should expect to need about 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your lifestyle. Let's translate that. If you earned $100,000 annually, you likely need about $80,000 per year in retirement income, and that surprises people because retirement isn't cheaper, it's just different. Many expenses don't disappear. Utilities, still there. Groceries, higher than ever. Insurance? Often more expensive. Property taxes? Definitely not retiring anytime soon. And then there's the biggest surprise. Free time. Retirement gives you something Americans rarely have. Time. Time to travel. Time to visit family. Time for hobbies. Time for restaurants on a random Wednesday afternoon. Ironically, freedom costs money. Now let's talk about the villain nobody sees coming. Inflation. Imagine retiring today needing $80,000 annually. Sounds manageable, but inflation averaging just 3% annually means, in 20 years, you'll need roughly $145,000 to buy the same lifestyle. Same groceries, same utilities, same comfort. Nothing fancy, just survival at the same level. Inflation doesn't knock loudly. It whispers. And retirees hear it every time they visit the grocery store. Milk up $1, insurance premiums creeping upward, prescription drugs doubling quietly. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Social Security replaces roughly 30 to 40% of income for many workers. Helpful, essential even, but not complete. And uncertainty around future funding creates anxiety for younger Americans. Nobody knows exactly what benefit formulas may look like decades from now, which means relying entirely on government benefits is like building a house on rented land. Stable today, uncertain tomorrow. Let's test the old advice. Say someone retires with $1 million invested. Using a traditional 4% withdrawal strategy, they generate about $40,000 annually. Add Social Security. Maybe they reach $65,000 or $70,000. That works in some regions, but try that in California, New York suburbs, or rapidly growing Sunbelt cities. Housing costs alone change everything. The $1 million dream wasn't wrong. It just assumed average expenses that no longer exist everywhere. Retirement planning today isn't about hitting a trophy number. It's about replacing income. Hollywood shows retirement as one long vacation, white sand beaches, golf carts, sunsets. Reality? Retirement looks more like 3 different seasons, each with its own rhythm, its own spending pattern, and its own emotional challenges. Financial planners sometimes call them the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. Together, they form the backbone of the 80-70-60 rule. This is retirement's honeymoon, usually ages 65 through early 70s. Health is still strong, energy is high, and after decades of working, people finally start doing what they postponed. Road trips across Route 66, cruises through Alaska, RV adventures visiting national parks, helping grandchildren with college visits, golf memberships, cooking classes, travel photography. Ironically, spending often peaks here because retirees finally buy time experiences instead of work obligations. Restaurants increase, flights increase, entertainment increases. That's why planners estimate spending remains close to 80% of working income. Not because retirees are careless, but because life finally opens up. Eventually something changes, not dramatically, gradually. Travel becomes tiring. Driving long distances feels exhausting. Maybe a knee surgery happens, or energy just naturally declines. People stay closer to home. Financial planners estimate spending falls toward about 70% of pre-retirement income. Still comfortable? Still active? Just quieter. Many retirees actually describe this phase as the happiest. Less rush, less pressure, more presence. And then comes the phase few advertisements talk about. Later, retirement. Mobility decreases. Driving may stop, travel fades, spending on entertainment drops dramatically. Which sounds cheaper, but there's a twist. Healthcare rises fast. Doctor visits increase. Medication costs climb. Home modifications become necessary. Walk-in showers, railings, assisted transportation, sometimes long-term care. And this is where retirement planning either succeeds or collapses. Because while lifestyle spending drops, medical expenses surge. Financial planners estimate spending averages roughly 60% of working income during this stage. Lower overall, but less flexible. You can skip a vacation. You cannot skip chemotherapy. Imagine planting a tree. For 30 years you water it, protect it, watch it grow. Then one day, someone shows up with a chainsaw demanding a percentage of the number. That's how many retirees feel when taxes suddenly appear. Because retirement accounts are not all created equal. Some are tax-free later, some are tax-deferred, and some hide a ticking clock. If Chapter 2 was about survival math, this chapter is about keeping more of what you already earned. If retirement planning were a movie, taxes would be the villain hiding in plain sight. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly waiting. Because most Americans build retirement savings inside accounts that delay taxes, not eliminate them, and delay can sometimes become a trap. Walk into almost any workplace in America, and you'll hear the same phrase. Are you contributing to your 401k? The Internal Revenue Service created tax advantages to encourage Americans to save for retirement. Employers embraced it, especially once pensions began disappearing. Instead of companies guaranteeing income forever, workers became responsible for investing themselves, and the 401k became the backbone of retirement savings. Here's why people love it. You contribute money before taxes. If you earn $80,000 and contribute $10,000, you pay income tax as if you earned $70,000.